So we wanted to talk to you about wisdom, the language of wisdom. Because wisdom is more than a thing that you know. It is a language. It is an entire spiritual entity that contains within it all of its definition, all of its manifestation, and it only applies, or I should say, can only be applied by those who understand it. And much like any other language, starting from your babies that don't know how to speak, you understand, you can understand wisdom long before you can speak it. Babies don't come out of the womb talking, singing. It takes a long time, few years. But long before they say their first word, they begin to understand some of the things you're telling them. When you look at them and you tell them, don't touch this, come over here, say dada, mama, they're not saying it yet. But with time, with exposure, your language starts rubbing off of them. And they begin eventually to start saying one word at a time until they become fluent in your language. Wisdom works exactly the same way.
Well, it's called time. Time. Do you know what we have an expression? Old father time. Old father time. We have another expression. Old maid. What is a maid but an assistant? And she's old, seasoned. Um, the women. What's the term for the women that help to bring babies into the world? Well, no, there's another term. There's an ancient term that's used for women that bring babies in the world, and they have them. It's called midwives. That is an ancient word. And who were the midwives? Usually the grandmothers, the aunts, the aunties, grandmothers, or if you were a daughter, you're a mother, or a servant in for the home that help. It takes a village to raise a tribe. Yeah, it's talking about, in other words, we say village, a community. You're supposed to have the support system. And the support system isn't your church group. The support system is your family group. And if you don't have a family group, and the Bible addresses that, widowers are supposed to be taken care of by their family. If the family doesn't exist, well, then the community, your other family, your spiritual family is supposed to step up. Just remember that. That's why we have to understand that the bond, the spiritual bond, is deeper than the blood one. But if you have a blood one, that is your first line of obligation. If that doesn't exist, then it is the spiritual one. And the spiritual one does assert the physical one because we are spirit more than we are flesh. And we must worship God in spirit and in truth. So the midwives formed as a community of women that would help to bring other women's babies into the world. We are supposed to help each other. Even in childbirth, we're supposed to help each other. Neighbors growing up are supposed to invoke wisdom to your children if they see it. They say, don't respect your next door neighbor. You can't say, you're not my daddy, you're not my mommy. Well, children do say that. But if your mother and father, if they're honorable, heard you say that, they would tell you, you are to respect Mr. Johnson. You are to respect Mrs. Johnson, unless they find out that Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Johnson are a bunch of weirdos and creeps. Then they say you are to stay away from Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Johnson next door. But they always say respect your elders, respect your teachers. Don't talk back to authority figures. And it's funny, the iconography of wisdom. What is the main iconography, the imagery of wisdom? An old man with a white beard or an old lady in a rocking chair with a shawl on her lap or around her shoulders with glasses hanging on midway down her nose, right? Well, in other words, we already have the image that wisdom is supposed to be with people who have been through something, lived a while. So when you hear the term an old fool, that is quite an accursed term. You have no reason to be old and a fool. It is quite much more acceptable to perceive or assume a young man as a fool, but an old one? What? And so wisdom is supposed to be something that you are accruing like a hedge fund, like a stock. It should be gaining interest, it should be compounding. It is impossible for us to not be wiser each passing month, each passing year. That's the guy who takes his talent and he doesn't even let it gain interest. I get it. You haven't learned how to multiply it 3 times, 4 times, 10 times, and get 50%, 80%, 200% on that investment. But to get 0%, and not only worse than that, to have negative, lose the value that it had, or just sit there and never gain anything?
And it really is not a reflection really on your intellect as much as it is a reflection on your heart and your intention, because wisdom, unlike knowledge, is not taught with a T. It is caught with a C. You catch it. It's not something you sit in a classroom and study and read. You don't get wisdom that way. Wisdom is applicable. It is something you catch by assimilation, like Stephen said, the whole tribe, the family. You hang around people who have wisdom, and subconsciously you become what you see, right? We see and we become. It's just the way we are wired. You don't have to sit your baby down and teach him how to talk. You just talk and he catches it. So the problem is you don't hang around people with wisdom.
That's right, because wisdom is a little different. Wisdom technically has to be seen. The word you use for faith is called trust. And trust has to be known, because you don't give somebody your trust unless you know something that they can be trusted. You wouldn't just say, oh, I have faith in that person. You never met them. They're on the street, and you're going to give them $10,000 of your money to hold for you for an hour. Oh, I trust them. No, that wouldn't be trust. That would be foolishness and stupidity, because trust is based on something. And even if you don't, maybe somebody you trust knows that person. Well, I don't know you. Oh, yeah. Well, Jim said Jim said you could take care of it, and I trust Jim. So it goes in multi-tiers, even if you don't know someone. Maybe someone you know knows that person, and they recommended that. It's called a recommendation, meaning I have no reason to hire you. I have no reason to give you money. I have no reason to trust you, but you have something that shows me. Well, you don't know that person. Well, actually, I know more about that person than I know you. You ever met anybody that you just met? You know more about them than the people that you've known? Because people that you've known have been lying to you your whole time, or hiding themselves, or they've just had a smokescreen. In fact, when you first met them, you were both deceived, and your relationship has continued in deception. You meet somebody for the first time, and they're speaking honest from the moment you meet them. They're not trying to butter your toast. They're more than likely trying to burn it. And they're honest with you more than the people that you know. So trust, but wisdom, wisdom is demonstrative. Wisdom is not just something you hear. The roots of wisdom, it's got a lot behind it where you were able to track it and measure it and see the choices that it's made. And it's active. It's active. Leadership, you got to follow the leader. You'll know it's active. It's not just a concept. Wisdom is at constant motion. So you can read about it. You can sing about it. You can write poems about it. You can paint pictures about it. But until you're walking about it, as the Australian Aborigine would say, when you're on that walkabout and you're seeing it in action, you have to see wisdom. You just got to come out of the test lab and get into the real environment where the variables are unpredictable. So now you see how it's responding in real time to real events. All of your Bible studies and donuts and coffee aren't going to do it. You're going to have to see it act in real time, and you'll see how it handles a rebuke, a persecution, someone spitting in their face, saying that they're going to shoot me, or go and grab their gun to shoot me. I was teaching my disciples at UCI, and the guy got so upset, he ran to his apartment to get his gun. So I'm going to come back and kill you. I'm going to shoot you. I've had knives to my throat and everything else. But the point is, and that's not all. I'm not even going down that list. But most of you have no wisdom. You've never gone through anything. You don't suffer anything. You don't endure anything. You've never really seen anything. And you spend most of your time trying to avoid the bumps and the bruises, the scars, tissue. You're avoiding the shots and don't know how to respond when a real gun is shot at you. Don't know how to respond when somebody is cursing at you, spitting at you, because most people are too consumed with the desire. Most Christians are narcissists. Every time they talk and approach, you can mostly see they are only about you thinking nice about them. They want you to perceive them, not God. They are consumed with it. They raise their children that way. They want their children to like them. You're taught to teach your children to love God. You're consumed with that with your wives, and God knows you men, especially Christian men in the Western world, the worship of their wives, not the worship of God. And they say stupid things like happy wife, happy life. Demonic, absolutely hedonistic and paganistic, has no root in truth, not one iota. And so we've lacked wisdom. It is impossible. Peter said it in the Acts of the Apostles. It is better to please God than to please men. But man, meaning mankind, that includes the woman as well. So it's really interesting. When you want to be pleasing to God, you will be the best husband that you could ever be. And it won't matter if the wife gets upset, because if she's holy, she's going to respect that, because it's wisdom. She's really looking for wisdom, and she's looking for the man to demonstrate it. Many of your wives don't respect you. Well, don't blame the wife. It's so easy to blame the nagging wife, isn't it? But I have seen that most of the reasons why women do not respect men, it's not the woman's fault. It's really the man. He's left nothing about him that's respectable, because she needs to see you committed to something greater than herself. Did you know that? She needs to see that you are strong, that you are noble, that you're willing to risk it all. You're willing to do it all. You're willing to take that jump, even at making her disappointed. Isn't it wonderful? Well, you've disappointed me, but man, you've made God happy. I'm going to stay with you. When you see them, people put God first, you will have wisdom, because wisdom is put God first. You shall love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy mind, and all thy strength. So when you see that iconography of an old man or an old maid or grandma or grandpa, ask yourself, is that in your life? Do you see a young, wise king like Josiah? Do you see someone young on fire for God, not on fire for skateboarding, snowboarding, and skiing, basketball and surfing, golf ball and soccer, football and baseball, the pool table, the gambling table, and every other table in between, particularly the foodies? Do you ever see anybody excited to go on an adventure rather than to go on a safari to hunt down a lion? But you don't go on a safari to hunt down souls for God. It's amazing where our passion is. We have no true passion for wisdom. Men that stand up for something, fight something, and live for something bigger than themselves, more than adrenaline, more than excitement, more than putting a trophy on their wall of a bear or a moose or a shark or a marlin fish that they caught off of the coast of Florida. Where is your love for wisdom? The greatest thing that you could desire. But instead, you fill your life living off of death. It is death that feeds you. It won't give you life, but it's what you feed on. And that's why so many, you don't want to walk with a man of wisdom. You don't want to sit with a woman of wisdom, A wise woman, oh my Lord, talk about a treasure. One wise man amongst 1,000 is hard enough to find, the Bible says. How rare a woman. Oof. And when you find one, my Lord, wow. Women, don't you desire to be that? I'm talking to the women, not the men. I have to say that because I know most of you men identify as a woman and you act like that, you talk like that, you live like that. That feminine brain of addiction, I get it. So I have to clarify. I'm talking to the real women, not you men who are like women, but you women. How beautiful and wonderful. A rarest diamond of all. Don't you want to be that kind of woman? Just the sight of you makes people look in awe. Wow, what an honor to be a woman like that. Don't you want to be that kind of wife? That kind of mother to your children? Oh, I tell you, my grandmother was such a woman. She was such a woman, and I've not known another one since.